Hello, my name is Lewis and welcome to Gathering the Magic, and today we have my latest deck tech, which is Ayara, Thirst of Locthwain. If you're not aware of Ayara, she is an elf noble that whenever her or another black creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life, and you can sack a creature or a black creature and draw a card. The name of the game with Ayara is literally getting tons and tons of those black creatures out and having all sorts of ways to drain your opponents of life while you're gaining life. There's a few little There's a few little win cons that we'll do towards the end of the deck, and we'll just get all of the land out the way now. It's about 35 land. This is actually the first commander deck I've ever built where it's just one colour and don't really have any black decks, so I thought I'd go Ayara, and I absolutely love it already. Managed to play over lockdown a few times with my friends on Cockatrice, and yeah, it does good. Cabal Stronghold there, potentially giving you lots of mana. Castle Locthwain, draw some cards, destroy a non-basic land, Field of Ruin there. Memorial to Folly, again you can sack it and return a creature from your graveyard to your hand, so you've got a bit of recursion there. Standard Mirrored Landscape, Witch's Cottage, there we go. And obviously, forgot to say, with Bajuka Bog, exiling all of those cards from players' graveyards. And because this deck only has about 35 land in, which is a little bit less than I usually run, this has got quite a bit of ramp. So you've got your Soul Ring, beautiful full art Soul Ring that are packed from the Commander Legends collector box. Then we've got Arcane Signet. Got a lot of staples here, but obviously monocolour, you don't need those typical staples like Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, things like that. Bontu's Monument, so good. Black creature spells cost one generic less, and your opponents are losing life and you're gaining life, which can really pop off with a lot of stuff. Nyx Lotus, so good in this deck. You can choose a colour, choose black, add amount of mana equal to your devotion, which in a mono black deck, even if you've just got Ayara out, that's 3 mana there. And we've got a Solemn Simulacrum, got the cool little M21 version. It's not really worth anything, so I thought I'd just keep it and jazz up the deck a little bit. And Burnished Heart for that last little bit more of ramp. Okay, and we've done the ramp, so now we'll do the removal. Oh, actually, before we do the removal, just check out this. What a cool DBZ. Nice little sleeve there, and sleeves on the back of this were a present I got from some of my friends for my birthday last year, and the art is just wicked. Absolutely love it. Okay, so here we've got Drag to the Underworld, which can be really cheap with that Devotion to Black, destroy target creature. Sat's Will, again another wicked card. If you've got Ayara out, you can sack a creature, well, make an opponent sack a creature and exile cards from opponent graveyard, and then you're creating more black creatures, so really good in this deck. Feed the Swarm, kind of just a removal staple in any black deck now since it came out in Zendikar. Destroy target creature or enchantment, opponent lose, you lose life. Cheap to play and probably going to lose a little bit of life. Dictate of Erebos, you can flash in. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. So for example, you might create a load of 0/1 thralls, which you can just sack for fodder for Ayara, draw a card, make everyone lose a life, and then everyone's got to sack a creature. Everything just sort of synergizes well here. Smallpox, I've literally just chucked this in the deck. Can't remember what I took out, but I always like to put in 1 or 2 cards, you know, from whatever the latest set is. Time Swell, I like the look of this, just for 2 black. Each player loses 1 life, discards a card, sacks a creature, sacrifices a land. Get a bit dirty. Murderous Rider with the Swift End removal, and obviously bring it back as a creature. Again, a lot of this deck is kind of using those cool different alternate arts, and yeah, I just fancied it. Tragic Slip, gives something -13 if you've got that morbid. Oubliette, phase out a creature. And Defile, target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control, which is going to be a lot, and to play that for 1, huge. And lastly, I put this in the removal because again I've got lots of creatures with that toughness 1, attached Skull Clamp on. Not only are you drawing 2 cards, you're then triggering off Ayara, and it just goes on and on and on. I don't know why I said Skull Clamp triggers Ayara, because it doesn't, but it triggers a lot of other things, in this deck. Dread Presence, again, you've got that swamp hitting the battlefield. You can either draw a card or deal 2 damage, so again, another little bit of potential removal. Gary, any black deck's gotta have Gary. You're gaining life, your opponents are losing life, which there's just so many different cards doing that. Again, Blood Artist, whenever the creature dies, so again, maybe due to Skull Clamp, target player loses 1 life and you gain life. In this deck, you are going to be just getting a ridiculous amount of life. So Conrad's there, whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere, so not just a black creature. So Conrad deals 1 damage to each opponent. This is the sort of deck that can really ping so quickly out of nowhere. Okay, and we've got Zulaport Cutthroat, classic. Whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Maybe I should put in the Zulaport Cutthroat from the Secret Lairs Ender card that I have. Veto, another classic. Originally was on my little shortlist for cards that I wanted to build a deck around, but I thought it fits into the 99 of this much better. Ogre Slumlord, whenever it dies you may create a 1/1 rat. So yeah, again, you've got this might die, but then you're creating another creature, triggering Ayara again, and hopefully triggering everything else you've got. Chittering Witch, one of the more expensive cards in the deck, from Throne. When it enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 black rat creature tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. Perfect for Commander. Cryptghast with Extort. Whenever you tap a swamp for mana, add 1 black to your mana pool. Huge. Viscera Seer, you got that free sack outlet. So if you don't want to do it with Ayara, again, because Ayara is just a black creature, if you want to sack a creature, you can scry 1. Perfect. Piper of the Swarm, create a load of black rats, and they all have Menace. Pawn of Ulamog, really classic card. When it enters the battlefield, you can put a 0/1 colourless Eldrazi, which obviously can give you mana too. Erebos, whenever another creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life and draw a card. And you can sack a creature to give a target creature -2/-1. Ophiomancer, again, another good card in Commander. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you control no snakes, put a 1/1 black snake creature token with Death Touch onto the battlefield. Grim Haruspex, you can morph it, or whenever another non-token creature you control dies, draw a card. So here, whenever creatures die or enter the battlefield, you're either gaining life, drawing cards. There's just so much synergy going on. It's crazy. Witch of the Moors, at the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, which you're definitely going to do every turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature and you return up to 1 target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Massacre Worm, love Massacre Worm. We had a game on Cockatrice a few weeks ago where one of my friends had millions of plants, an overwhelming amount of plants. Massacre Worm comes out on the battlefield, clears it all, and does about 20-30 life in the process. Carrion Feeder, another sack creature outlet there. Abhorrent Overlord, the wordiest of cards. When it enters the battlefield, put a number of 1/1 black harpy creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield equal to your devotion to black. So again, in a mono black deck in Commander, it can just do so well. Grave Titan Death Touch, when it enters the battlefield or attacks, put 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield. So as you can see here, Ayara's main trigger is to get black creatures onto the battlefield, which even these black creatures are finding ways to get more black creatures out. Again, Sengir Autocrat. You play it, you get 3/0/1 black serf creature tokens. Huge. Endress Sack. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you put in more black creatures onto the battlefield. Just ridiculous. Rankle, Master of Pranks. I just love it for the chaos it can cause. It's got haste so it can attack straight away, and then you can make players discard cards, draw cards, sack creatures. He's just pesky. Kirik, another creature I considered making an entire deck around, but I just loved the way I saw this Ayara deck comboing off. And you're gaining so much life, so really, you get Kirik out, just start paying everything with 2 life, keep that mana saved. Army of the Damned, I put it in here with the creatures because for 5, 6, 7, 8 CMC, you can put 13 2/2 black creatures. You put on 13 creatures, instantly your opponents are losing 13 life, you're gaining 13 life. Crazy. And then we've got 2 planeswalkers, again mainly for these creating creatures. Tevesh Sat there and Liliana. You can make players sack creatures, or you get some more black creatures. Absolutely huge. Okay, so this is nearly it. There's just a few things there for the sort of win cons, as I like to say. And now we've got all the stuff to do with all that life that you're going to be having. So Malakir Rebirth, obviously you can use as a DFC land, but you can choose a creature and get it returned to the battlefield. Bastion of Remembrance. Whenever a creature control dies, each opponent loses a life, you gain a life. Sanguinates, obviously an absolute staple. Each opponent loses X life and you gain life. Sanguine Bond, whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Sanctum of the Stone Fangs, there's only 1 shrine in here, but for as cheap as it is to play, it's just something, even if it can last 4 or 5 turns on the battlefield, you're slowly going to be gaining life and your opponents are slowly going to be losing life. So it really is worth it. And we've got the big dog, Aetherflux Reservoir. Obviously you're gonna have so much more life than that. You can just insta kill a player at the table. Whip of Erebos, just to give everything else lifelink. It just seems like one of those cards that's in so many black decks, so I thought I'd have it in there, give everything lifelink. Disentomb, again, just another card I love because it's just 1 black mana. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Pacification Array, again, it's a card that's probably is at this point easily swappable, but I just like it just to give that option to tap, target artifact or creatures, really put your enemies at bay. Lightning Greaves, because you've got to protect Ayara because she will become a target. Bolas's Citadel, nice little Friday Night Magic stamp there. Yeah, look at the top card of your library anytime and you can pay all that life that you're gaining to play it rather than pay that card's mana cost and make opponents lose 10 life. Akadeem's Awakening, a card I've not really been able to use much, but since it came out in last year's Zendikar set, I've just really liked the way it looks, and I just would love to get it to play off one time, but not happened for me yet, but always got that second land option there. Diabolic Tutor to tutor for, I mean, any card to dig you out of a hole, but definitely the win con. And Netherborn Altar, you put your commander into your hand from the command zone. Again, it's just good if Ayara's constantly getting targeted, it's just going to give you ways to get her out cheaper. And lastly, we have the win cons. So first, we're all about that treasure. There's 1 or 2 other ways to get treasure out, but here, whenever another creature you control dies, create a treasure artifact token. And then obviously here, you've got Revel in Riches. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you create those treasure tokens. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 10 or more, you win the game. Again, I've still not got that to pop off yet, but you got to have it in the deck, haven't you? You gotta hope. Torment of Hailfire. Again, hopefully you're going to have loads of mana and you can just do this to make either opponents lose so much life or just discard a ridiculous amount of cards or just sacrifice all the permanents on their board. And lastly, I think this is obviously really common in Ayara, and the card you probably want to choose for, but Plague of Vermin. Start with you, each player may pay any amount of life. So if you're at 60 life and your opponents have only got 30, you can say, I want to pay 35 life, put 35 1/1 black rat creatures onto the battlefield, which will trigger Ayara 35 times. Your opponents will lose 35 life and you'll gain 35 life and you'll get the win. Just ridiculous. So there we have it. That is the Ayara deck tech. Let me know what you thought in the comments. If there's anything you'd add to the deck, please do let me know. Don't forget to like this video and of course subscribe. But for now, I am all Ayara'd out. So I'll see you in the next video.